Welcome, YouTubers, to Life on 10. Wow, we have missed you, haven't we, Vanessa?
We have missed you.
We're so very happy to be back with you today. This is our first episode post-COVID, right? We have not been on since COVID-19.
I think we're gonna go from, the whole BC AD thing to post-COVID. That's gonna be the new delineation of time from here on out.
Post-COVID.
Before COVID and after COVID.
Yeah,
that's I think what's gonna have to be.
Post-COVID. Vanessa and I do not have our mask on because we are 6 feet apart, but we do have our mask with us.
We have them.
We have
our
mask
outside. And we are actually 10 feet apart.
Oh, sorry, we're 10 feet apart. We're 10 feet apart. So wow, so much has happened since the last time we spoke. I don't even know where to begin.
So much has happened, Angela. So much has happened since the last time we spoke.
Yes.
Life on 10 episode like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like all out racial tension like we wouldn't believe, and protesting and rioting, and now we're having this mask war, it seems like. And I am getting increasingly frustrated at the mask war.
And you're saying, she's saying mask, M-A-S-K, mask war.
Yes. And I want to, and I think, and this is what we are going to, I think, talk about today. Not that any of the other issues I brought up are not incredibly important. They are, but my concern is that they are worthy of much more time and contemplation than a short video.
Absolutely.
Like this. So that's why, and Angela and I are going to get into some videos around that and do some deeper dives on that because it's so important. We decided this time because it is incredibly timely. It is something that is important for public health and for many things in our society that we need to talk about this. And what I need Angela to help me do is to kind of understand people who will not follow the recommendations from the experts, myself included, other public health representatives. Why is this an issue? Why has this become anything other than this is what's recommended? Let's all fall in line and do it so that we can be safe. I guess I have zero understanding as to why this has become a problem. Yeah. And Angela is going to help me.
I don't know if I'm going to help you. I wear a mask, first of all. I totally believe and understand the purpose of it. And in saying that, I have several friends and a couple of family members who do not wear masks.
Okay.
Distant family members. Yeah. So I'm just gonna, so I'll be that person that I was talking to my son the other day, and I said, it's like we've become this society of masks and unmasked people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the masked people and it's the unmasked people.
Exactly.
It's just like, and they're having this war. So I'm just always really curious when I go out and I don't see people with masks on.
Yeah.
I was at, I don't know, I don't want to say Target because I think we said Target already. So we don't want to bash Target. But I was at the grocery store and it specifically said, biggest say mask only.
Yeah.
And what happened is the people are walking in with a mask and then they just take the mask off.
Exactly, once they get inside.
And that's just it. So I did not say anything when I was in there to the person, but I was just really curious. So I was asking my friend, I called my friend who does not believe in a mask, and I said, what's the deal? Tell me, explain to me what's the deal. So I spoke to 3 different friends, and I'm gonna tell you 3 different answers that I received. One was, this isn't real.
The whole thing is
the whole thing is government generated.
Okay.
It's a whole conspiracy sort of thing.
Okay.
It's a political ploy, and it's not real.
And is it all going to go away after the election?
Yeah. And it's all going to go away after the election.
Okay.
Is what I was told.
Okay.
And that's the first answer I received. Second answer was, it's infringing upon my personal liberties.
Okay.
this person really felt like the government is trying to control me. The government cannot tell me what to do.
Okay.
And so I'm not going to wear the mask.
Okay.
And not only that, I will not patronize any store that requires me to wear a mask.
Got it.
I don't know if you had an opportunity to see, but some of our YouTube audience may have seen where it was a Walmart store,
yeah.
and the man was walking in, and the guy's just saying, "Hey, you got to wear your mask," and he's like bulging through. That's my greatest concern, that
yeah.
the people who are trying to, employees of the different stores who are trying to just enforce this, their lives are now becoming in danger.
Yeah.
So that was the second. So the first theory is it doesn't even exist.
Yep.
It's government generated. It'll disappear after the politics, after the election. Second is it's just government trying to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Even bordering on socialism.
Yeah.
And so that was the second one. And the third one was just from a young person who felt that, well, you know, if I get it, then it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Because young people aren't dying from it.
Yeah.
I had a friend that contracted it, and she was like, she had a fever and she had a cough, and then she was fine.
Yeah.
So no big deal.
Yeah.
So those are the three
main
things that I am hearing from that. So I share that with you, Vanessa, in hopes that let's kind of explore that. When you hear that, when you hear those reasons, what comes up for you? I mean, how would you, let's address the first reason. So I'm that person that says, it's not even real. It's all government generated. People aren't actually dying.
Here's what I want to say to that one. This entire world has never been able to get their act together and row in one direction for anything ever. Somehow we've miraculously been able to do that for COVID. That's because this is not a U.S. thing. This is a world problem. Mm-hmm. This started in China and spread throughout the world. So this is not just the United States picked this up and we're all doing this to keep Donald Trump from getting elected. There's no way that would even be possible because, like I said, there's nothing else in this entire world that we have ever been able to agree upon to go through and somehow create this massive hoax that generates this virus that people, I just, to me, that, I'm going to say that just sounds so far-fetched, but then I realize if I, tell my legitimate feelings about how ridiculous that sounds, then other people are going to, it's going to shut them off, right? Mm-hmm, if I tell you that what you're saying is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely.
You're probably not going to respond to me. The walls come up and I've lost
Instantly, I'm not hearing or I'm not listening to anything that you have to say because first of all, you're calling me ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah. So my ideas are ridiculous. But I would say, pretending to be that person that's holding that particular theory, what might register with me is when you said it's a world thing.
Yeah.
That caught my attention.
Okay.
Like, okay, so this is not necessarily the United States.
Yeah.
That really makes me think, you know what? I never thought about it like that. That means the entire world would have to be in on this conspiracy to not
just the United States and the mainstream media.
Yes.
The whole world.
Yes, and that is that's great. That's a great point. Now see, that got my attention.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
That's my first one.
Okay.
To your second one.
To my
what was
second
our second one. Infringement on your rights.
So yes, the government is telling me what to do. This is, we're moving to socialism. I'm a libertarian. I got my gun. You're just not going to do that. First it's the mask.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be trying to take my guns away from me.
I hear you. I'm going to say that we have already allowed the government to dictate to us things that are in our best interest for safety's sakes, right? Mm-hmm. We drive down the road. We all honor the fact that there's a stop sign. Why do we honor that fact? Because we know this is a dangerous intersection, and if we all just barrel through it, we're going to have problems. So the government has decided, we're going to put stop signs here, and we're going to put stoplights, or we're going to, do various things that regulate the traffic to make sure that we can go about our day, we can go about our business. That is how I feel about masks. It is simply an additional layer of protection to allow us to go about our days, our business, in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. That's what a mask is. It is nothing to do with trying to infringe upon your personal rights. It is simply, this is something that we need to do in order to go about our daily business so that we can get back to the economy up and running. We can get our kids back in school. We can do all these things. That's what I say. Seat belts, stop signs, driver's licenses. Think of all the things that we have to do to operate within this society that are based out of safety. You know, and that's what the masks are coming from. It is all based out of safety. And I realize that any safety measure you put in, everybody says, you know, if you give up your rights out of fear of safety, you'll just give up your rights.
Right.
I get that. And if this were something that was incredibly intrusive and difficult and put the wearer at risk or harm, I would totally be on board with that. But let me address some medical facts. You are not going to decrease your oxygen. Not going to happen. If that were the case, why would we allow surgeons to operate on your brain for 12 hours wearing a mask?
Yeah, because that's one of the concerns too.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean, if that were
that was
true,
a health risk.
If it were a health risk, you wouldn't have people operating on your brain for 12 plus hours wearing a mask, right? So that has to just go out the window there, because it's not going to decrease your oxygen levels. It's not going to increase your carbon dioxide levels, which is everybody's worried about, because we have surgeons every day wearing these for many hours, doing incredibly complicated procedures, and they're fine. They're not dropping dead because of hypoxemia and high CO2 levels. So I want to just shake that out there. Now, if you have certain illnesses, very severe COPD, other types of illnesses that make it so that you already have a hard time breathing, you're right, you might have a hard time wearing a mask. You might. But the number of people, I'm a pulmonologist, I have lots of patients.
Right.
The number of people that fall into that category are very small, very, very tiny. Most of y'all walking around at Target do not hit that category, okay? So that's where I want to throw that out there. And so and the worst thing for me is, I'm going to call it maskne. Oh my God, my chin has broken out into the most ungodly acne I've ever had. But you know what? I'm going to keep wearing the mask, and I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to deal with the maskne because I care about everybody, and I want to make sure that we stop this.
You're taking one for the team.
Taking one for the team. This is bad. I never look like this. Anyway, so now let's go into your third one.
My third one is the young people out there. I've heard young people having COVID-19 parties where they're challenging, you know, who can get it, and they don't believe that, not necessarily that they can't contract it. It's just that I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. I had a friend, she had a fever, she had a cough. It's just fine. That was it. So I'm not wearing a mask. This is it. Yeah. And plus, you know, I want to go out to the bar. I want to hang out. And you're in your 20s. Totally get that. Totally get that.
I know.
What do you say to those 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds that's just like, hey, this is not my disease. This is my grandparents' disease.
Exactly.
I don't need to worry about it.
I know. I will say you're totally right. This is a disease that is probably not going to affect you, right? Individually, because we know that if somebody who's really young and healthy gets this illness, you're probably going to have minimal symptoms, maybe fever, maybe a little shortness of breath, cough, you know, whatever. And you're going to get better, because that's the statistics of this disease. That is the chances. However, I have personally taken care of patients that were young, that are in the intensive care unit, not doing well. So it's not, it's chances are you will be fine, but there are people that has not been borne out. We saw that one young guy who died at age of 35, who had gone to a party specifically with that intent, and he admitted that he made a mistake. So there's that. The other thing is that we have to, and it's very hard sometimes to turn off the me thing and project out to others, because the mask isn't for you. The mask is for everybody else. By you not contracting the illness, then you are not passing it on to other people. And if you don't wear a mask, your droplets that you create as you talk, as you sing, as you yell, hey, what's up? As you do all the things that you do when you go out, and then when you go to a party, or you go to a club, or you be at a bar, or whatever you do, You can't maintain social distancing. There's no way. I've never been to a fun bar where I was 6 feet apart away from people.
Right.
Never existed, right? So these things, these activities that you want to do, you're not going to be able to maintain the things that keep the virus under control. At which point you are going to spread it amongst other people your age. And yeah, sure, most of them will probably be fine. But unless they never come in contact with somebody else who's elderly, has diabetes, is obese, their parents, their grandparents, their younger kids. Think about all the people they might come in contact with, and most young people do. They have parents, and one of the sad cases I had that I took care of was a guy in his 50s whose daughter gave him the illness.
Oh, wow.
And so those are the things that we have to look at, is that I guarantee you she had no idea that she was going to make her dad so sick that he was going to be on his deathbed in the intensive care unit. She never thought that. And so those are the things that we need to think of as young people, is that it's not about you. This is an area where we need to look beyond ourselves and think about other people.
Definitely.
So those are my reactions to your 3 anti-mask people.
And I have one I'd like to add. I don't know if I'll come in a little bit soon.
Yes.
So the idea of predetermination or predestination in religion, how does anybody have any idea on how that can explain away the need to not wear a mask?
Because what he's talking about is Robert's from the South, right?
So elaborate a little bit more for me, Robert.
So that people feeling that if they catch the COVID-19 virus and they become sick or even pass, then it's God's will.
It's God's will.
Therefore, why should they change the way they live to alter God's will?
Yeah.
Because if they're going to get it, they're going to get it.
That's one of the things that I've always.
Yeah. I don't have an answer to that.
I don't either. I know that that's some people's religious belief, that there's also a sect that don't seek medical care at all.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that. I really don't. I think, we have to honor everyone's belief system.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what I'd say to that person.
Yeah, because you're trying to alter a truly profound, entrenched belief within them, that they live their entire life, that every decision they make is guided on that decision, that belief, that trust in God, that whole Jesus take the wheel. It's, you know what I mean? That everything that is going to happen to me is God's will.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'd have them consider the fact that God's will also was to allow man to be able to create masks. We want to look at what's God's will. I mean, it's we could say it's COVID-19, but also God's will is that God created people like Vanessa to treat disease. And so then I would say, well, if God created someone to be able to treat the disease, does that not mean that I should seek treatment?
Yeah. That's how I would go
when
about it.
You talk about God's will.
And when I've, and this goes into another topic we've always wanted to talk about, which was end of life. When I have end of life conversations with patients who bring up, the concept of miracle, or they're if they're going to die, they're going to let it be God's decision. I have to bring that up, is that, look, we only can do so much.
Right.
And everything that we do is a tool that God has given us, right? Yeah. And so I completely agree with you. That would be maybe that's the only thing
That's the only thing I could say to that. I did want to go back to the young people, because I think the initial message when COVID-19 surfaced was really focusing on the elderly and 65 and over. But I not personally know, but in Florida, there is a couple of young people that have died from COVID-19.
Absolutely.
And the way I want to stress that, just because you're 20 and you're 25 years old, these people did not have any underlying health conditions at that time. So I just really, really want to stress that.
Yeah.
Just piggyback on that. So,
and the other thing, we don't know enough about COVID to be able to say that this isn't going to cause long-term effects to your health. We don't know.
Yes.
Could you get this and have lifelong pulmonary issues, lifelong chronic fatigue issues, lifelong vascular issues? We don't know. This is a new thing. So I feel like that taking that stance of I'm young, I'm healthy, I'll probably be nothing to me. You've got a whole life to live and a whole lot of wonderful things in front of you. And this is just not a chance that I'm willing to take, and I would not recommend others doing
It's that probably.
Yeah.
You can't guarantee me 100%.
Exactly.
So it's that probably period right there.
And wearing a mask is easy. It's so simple. It's annoying. You get mad at me. I get it. And all the other things that go with it. One thing I want to say, I also have to bring this up.
Okay.
I read it's because of school. Everybody wants to get their kids back to school, and they hate the fact that their kids might have to wear masks, right? And somebody said, I'm so afraid my kid is not going to be able to understand social cues, and they won't get the full expression. And I turned to my daughter when I read this. I read it on Facebook or something, and I was wearing my mask at the time. And I turned to her and I smiled. And she immediately smiled to me, and I said, sweetie, how did you know that mommy was smiling? And she said, I saw your eyes.
Yeah.
The children are resilient. They're wonderful. They know how to pick up on things, and wearing a mask is not going to harm their ability to move forward in this world and understand people's facial expressions. Now, if you are hearing impaired and have to read lips, my God, I get that. And they have beautiful masks that are clear.
Yes.
And I actually had a patient who was deaf in the hospital, and the interpreter came and she was wearing a clear mask, and they had absolutely no problem. And so there's ways to get around that. And if that's an issue, you can buy a clear mask and use that. There's so many ways to get around this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So are we done with our mask topic, or do we want
done
to?
with our mask topic?
I think so. The only thing that I would add to the kids picking up on social cues is the fact that there are kids with sensory disorders that do have issues.
Yes.
Have more problems.
Absolutely. I could
difficulty
definitely see that.
Picking up social cues based on a single or a couple. They need more multiple cues to be able to tell if someone's smiling or angry or
correct,
whatever it is. So there are exceptions, not that they are not important, but we can find ways to work around that.
Exactly.
Is maybe instead of in-person classes, they can do more video. And I know limiting technology for sensory deficit is an issue, but this is the time that we try new things.
Yeah.
And help them prepare for adulthood.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right, YouTubers, Life on Tenors, listen. 2020 came in with with the kick butt attitude. That's all I can say. If it was a car, it would be totaled.
Yes.
But it's not over yet. That's what I want to say. It's not over yet. And we together is the key word here. We're resilient. We can get through this. We are not only going to survive it, we're going to thrive. We're innovative. We're going to create different ways and different workarounds so we can live our best life on 10, even in the midst of COVID-19.
Yes.
So I want to sign off, and I want to say, mask up, guys, mask up.